Alright, I feel like a pretty good push right now. Alright, so what is it? Golden plants. There's one. It's Charlie. Yes. Ooh. Thank you.
feeling when Capital One helps you easily manage your money. Redeem credit card rewards with a swipe. Check your credit score like that and receive alerts that keep you in the know. Wishes do come true thanks to the Capital One app. It's switching time.
Helps fight bad breath for 12 hours.
I know.
It's a better mouthwash.
Okay. Yes, nice. Whoa, what is that? Okay. Have you ever seen anything like that? Cutting those tenons in one shot, 4 separate circular saw blades? It's amazing the adaptations that the Japanese have for the work that is worldwide, right? I've loved this. You guys have been telling me to watch the Shoyan Japanese carpenter for a long time, and I've finally done it. This is the second time I've sort of scrubbed through what I'm going to show you now. And I'll tell you this, that wood is wood, and sharpening is sharpening, and hammers are hammers, and men are men. But it is sure interesting to see how this guy does what he does, where he does it, with the tools that he has. Spans my brain. I hope you enjoy it, and I want to thank you for pointing me in this direction, because this guy is next level.
Started framing this house in October.
October.
It's probably
5 months.
Let's take a look inside before they move in.
Okay, 5 months. With the camera going. That's impressive. Nice latch. Protected. Okay. That guy's no older than I am. In fact, he's not as old. Build a House compilation. Season 3. So there's more ahead of this apparently. Show you on Japanese part. Okay, the foundation is complex, not very big.
It's a site. Let's get install silk blades.
Right? So blades on the concrete.
As I was saying, that's great.
Good
What's
job.
the thing? It's on the side of the photos.
All right, look how small and light that square is, but a little hard to carry in your bags. Is that a Tajima chalk line? Tajima is, as far as I can tell, the best since I've been given one. All right, 3, 4, 5. He's squaring up the chalk lines in that inside what must eventually going to be a room. That's got to be the crawl space. Around here, we would typically just frame up little pony walls out of wood, right, to get up to the height of the exterior foundation. But they poured those partitions all the way down with interior hold down. Let's see. Hi. Good. Hi. Okay, plumbing up that big anchor bolt. There's some sort of a sleeve on that, right? It's threaded down. Maybe that's just where the transition to the thread. But check it out. There's black chalk. Black is very indelible. And look at those mortises showing up next to his left elbow. Look at those notches. Wow, it's complicated. Plumb. Bottom plates. Okay, they're staging their work. They're scattering the pieces. Look at that. Okay, now we did a react on a Korean house build, and all of the components like this came from a factory somewhere. It looks like the same thing's going on in Japan.
It's generally
Look how sharp that bit is, big chunks. So you can practice this so that you're drilling square. If you look down the bit from 2 sides, you can get both of the axes, and he's doing that. He's sighting down that auger bit like it's a gun barrel and not worried about drilling square, but that's oversized. That bit is quite a bit bigger than the bolt. No problem with that.
It is. If it's not in filth, it's important. Columns will not use cold plates. It's a sensor not
Bam. Okay, nothing underneath those things? Look at that arrow-shaped tenon. Holy smokes, man. But I'm not seeing sill seal or anything. All right. Look at the hammer, boys. That's like in Korea. And in Finland, for that matter. All right, what are those? I don't know what that is.
It's just the right there.
Some sort of adjustable support. Oh, of course. You put them in upside down, got the length, measured off the beam, got the length, adjusted them to height, turned it over, dropped. Smart. Smart.
Protein, fuel for life. Because exceptional nutrition fuels more than the days of your life. It fuels the life in your days. Explore now. State President, tell me about the day the world went blue.
It was terrifying.
I wasn't scared at all.
It all happened on the day of Container Pond. And I believe that's why I'm Trev Smith.
Looks like a turn off.
You can't say that.
He does.
He is the buyer for all of Daily Organic Grocery, aka our ticket to 2 million sales.
Hi, Mom. Mom, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be home for dinner tonight.
Okay, maybe we don't leave our home lives at home and focus on the planet. Maria and I set up the booth while you two find Trev Smith and bump him back to our booth.
Are we practicing? You have a song? I do. Mom, just be so intimate.
We should hurry. You said 5 minutes, yeah?
We made it.
We haven't made it until Trev Smith buys our bag. Who are they? Look them up really quick. Two words. Trev Smith and airdrop.
That's not too much.
That's the book. Container Pond is officially open.
I think he's even here. I don't know. We're so confident that you...
We have to crush them. They could find their weakness and take them down before Trev Smith could discover them.
I got it. Our cowboy the dog's legs. That's good one.
They had one job. Find Trev Smith. And bring him to me.
Save me one of those hats, okay? Security! You're gonna be
They
here?
did. They actually did it. They really did it. Mr. Smith, how much that soap?
We are seaweed packaging solutions with our special guest DJ Fred. You got Mr. Smith. I'm a big fan.
I know.
You don't even care. We are losing to them. Jimmy, do what I needed you to do just this minute. What's happening?
You're experiencing some sort of outage. Please do not panic.
Blue screen everywhere. Is it just me, or is my PC not working?
Fix this.
You're experiencing some sort of outage. Please do not panic. You're experiencing some sort of outage. Please do not panic.
Bolts being tightened up. Cordless impact, just like home. Rain date. Timber transportation. Yep. All right, this is pre-construction. At least that's what they call it. So they're shrink wrapped, they're protected, they're clean, and I'll bet they're expensive. Nice scaffold, boys.
So this thing is like a pre-construction thing.
So you better believe he gave some thought as to where to land those pallets. Bunks of lumber.
Timber transportation. I always do.
All right, let's point this out. See how those slings are rigged? Opposing pass-through, so it tends to hang nice and straight and not render in opposite in a similar direction and twist load. And look how they protected it, the cardboard. So that's a big deal. If you're lifting something, especially with a chain or a cable, you've got to protect the corners of the wood, plywood especially. That's a mistake that's too easy to make.
The timbers can be lifted down.
Lifted down, lowered, and lifted down. Where I want them to be. Oh, he puts a GoPro on his helmet. Welcome to the wonderful world of filming, bud. All right, tell me what that type of a mortise and tenon connection is called. I mean, there's undoubtedly a Japanese name for that. With it radiused on one end or both ends and the square shoulders. Giant routers are doing that somewhere. Interested in these names. Temporary bracing, held with a screw. Netting to protect something. Okay, let's talk about that. Because every one of those joints and mortises lie weeks before assembly. And it would just be agonizing putting it together, trying to remember if your thought process has been clear or cloudy, if you had a bad day, or if the whole 7-man crew came to a stop because you messed up 2 months back. That is pressure.
Because they was formed and cut by hand. I wasn't sure if they fit me.
Yeah.
So I was nervous when someone cut my hand.
What'd she call her? Oh, yes, she sold the twin stadium.
You know, stadiums do. Very good.
Oh, it's a freeze, canvas, and spot.
The right money moves aren't as absurd as you think.
Because they mostly just ask questions.
Okay, look at that. Plumb bob protected from the wind. See that? It's a plumb bob inside of an enclosure. And they're going to rack the building until it points directly to that snap line. That is cool, boys. Better than holding up a piece of plywood. Really. Adjustable brace. Okay, somebody tell me, you see how the contrast between the heartwood and sapwood on that horizontal member, that looks like a different species in those posts. Around here, I would say that's a tamarack, which is a type of cedar, but straighten me out, boys. Is that christening? Looks like it to me. Smashing a bottle against the bow of a ship. Tell you what, structural screws are everywhere. Yeah, subfascia, fascia.
Just like the last time, rain 2 days in a row was expected. It was suspended for a day, and we're pushed through the next day.
Shut down for a day. Fair enough.
So then we good construction. Digitally, everything day is right.
Tape over the top of the rafters, drilling for plumbing, I assume, furring it up, and then putting the purlins in. But you don't want to step on that insulation. So let's drill down on this a little more, or at least I think I'm drilling down. I could just be confused, because it is just an overview video. 5-month build. These guys are getting it done. But they didn't sheet that roof with plywood in the same way that we do. They came with the rafters, they then furred them up, they then cut in the purlins, they then pressed in the styrofoam, then they put some sort of a real wood, a board, maybe a tongue and groove configuration, at least that looked like it, and then over the top with maybe another insulating board or something, make a uniform substrate. But it's not the plywood shear panel that I'm used to seeing on the roof. Now on the inside, they're putting metal corner braces and attaching them. So I have no doubt that the resistance to racking and the shear strength is adding up to at least what we get out of a plywood roof. Maybe boundary nail, shear blocking at the joints. But it's just another way. Is it better? Is there some appearance factor there I'm not aware of? Or is it just tradition and their manufacturing process and what's on hand? I don't know. But if we're learning nothing else here, we're learning there is more than just one way to skin a cat. Okay, what is that? It's a laser. Look at that. He's setting up a laser, projecting a line to start something.
Maybe this is later, at least you may I thought about this and you're friendly.
All right, rough opening to be installed. Just look how clean that lumber is right there.
There are various types of sashes and grates, such as some types for vegetables, such insulation process, Rebirth. I have the most trouble installing this super sash, since it's for two 135 centimeters wide pieces of glass.
Yeah, 9 feet of glass.
But it's a gorgeous building.
Heavy. Japanese chisel, yes, all around on the back. Okay, all right. Vindication. I'm vindicated. Luke Wilson sent me 3 nice Japanese chisels. They're nice. Working on that bench. We've got a video series about that. And being a carpenter, I used a steel finish hammer on my Japanese chisels, and you guys just went ballistic, some of you. You didn't all, but look, who can deny that in Japan, with Japanese chisels, he's using a steel hammer? Feels good. So I don't know what that board is, but look at that. So he took those 2 cuts out of the same board. It continues right on around. The miter is sweet. Something tells me this is not just because there's a camera. This old boy is something else. Toenailing a screw. No downside to that. All right, so
Friday is company karaoke. 9 just off beat. I'm something of a karaoke connoisseur. What's this? Brad wants new messaging. He wants by Friday? Trying to throw me off my karaoke game. Grammarly's got me covered. Let's sound more engaging. Oh, yeah. That was
Tis not blasphemy. Tis true. Thanks to the transformer table.
Transformer table? Son, bridle thy temptation. Jedediah hath witnessed you grow this table to the size of Goliath with your witchcraft.
I can extend my transformer table to seat up to 12 people by myself.
Burn the table!
The transformer table tis heat resistant up to 850 degrees.
It does not burn, tis smooth. Like the head of Elisha. With what dark materials has this been forged?
Simply wood, but it's...
'Tis wood as she speaks.
Only 6 in one bench doth extend too much.
6? Devil's number.
And over yonder is the coffee table where I store the meals.
I do enjoy a good cup of Joseph over Don Bartholomew. I could have so many cups of Joseph at this table. Yes. No.
Whether you are dining alone, constructing wares, or feeding a village, Transformer Table works miracles.
More table when I have need, and more space when I desire. This table doth give me. Brothers and sisters, resist.
Mustn't you give in to temptation for once?
It's the weekend.
What will we do with the old tables? Burn them.
Transformer Table. Never stop.
That was tight, right? I mean, that's a friction fit. As it's driven in, it's putting end load. So there's several questions with this. How do you get a measurement to where the friction fit is tight enough so that you have the allowable tolerance is perfect, but you're not forcing something in so hard that you're bruising, that you're swinging by? How do you determine? Is it plus a 32nd, plus a millimeter, plus a hair? It takes practice. It takes practice to know how to place your mark, how to make your line, how to split that line when you're cutting, or whether you leave the line. There's all sorts of conversations about that. We've got some videos, but this guy has it. You're going to see as it goes that a lot of his boards are put in with the heel of his hand. All right, so we just skipped a lot, right? We went from just sort of an overview of the outside, Nokiura and this porch ceiling, to the inside finish work. And I mean, that's what we're here for, right? When you see somebody like this doing this kind of work, you want to see what
You gotta be
perfect
sure.
and visual looks like to him. So we have some knots in the framing method. Not a lot, but clearly it's not clear. But what I've seen towards the end of this video makes it almost impossible to find any sort of a knot or an imperfection in any of the wood. Which introduces a question. Would you let me know, is this house that we're watching for the 1%? Is this a median house? What percentage of the people that live in Japan could ever aspire to have a house like this? Gang cutting, tongue and groove, not a knot. I wonder how much those boards cost. And that looks like a bigger blade than a 7 1/4 inch. He cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boards at one pass. Larry Hahn would be proud of you, buddy. If you're going to gang cut, and I recommend that you do, it's easy to make the mistake of not verifying that the factory end, that the factory cut on the other side of what he's cutting right here is as perfect as a cut you're going to make. And if it's not, then you got to cut them twice. You've got to get a perfect end and make them perfectly flush and square down through the stack before you make this move. And if you don't, you are going to be oh so disappointed when some of those boards are out of square or short and your meticulously laid out gang cut just wrecked, or at least obligated for use somewhere else, expensive board. So yes, gang cut, and yes, verify the condition of the end. Maybe you use a clamp.
That feeling, Capital One helps you easily manage your money and redeem your credit card rewards with a tap. So dinner is no longer up in the air, thanks to the Capital One app.
Okay, so that's blind nailing. The tongue on the previous piece is engaged with the groove on the piece that he's putting up, and then he's nailing just underneath the tongue in a spot that's going to be covered up by the following groove, right? But I got to reinforce my question about, is that the same species of cedar and not a knot? It's beautiful.
Next is the only one, the Guardian is false. While I understand the fearlessness, this is my first time working only with this radiance. It makes sense since it's false.
Okay. Can we just pause and recognize that he said this is the first time he's put a safety railing around a stairwell? Salute, buddy. Now, there's nothing wrong. As he is saying right now, there's nothing wrong. It makes sense. It prevents falls. It does prevent falls. But I guess I'm just pointing out that it's easy to diss on the construction workers in our neighborhoods if we see them do something unsafe. But there's a mentality in construction where the work is the work. And the men, by agreeing to be construction workers, have accepted some degree of risk. But it's nice to go home at the end of the day, isn't it? Nice. Look at that. That must be of interest or something. That's what they had him shooting for. Looks like he nailed it. It's the challenge in all cultures everywhere. You're doing work with somebody and they have an idea and nobody can read a set of blueprints and nobody can visualize. But in this day and age, you can find a picture somewhere of whatever it is you're thinking of. And it beats 1,000 words. What's that? Yes. So you see him cut that little chamfer on the edge with this chisel? A chamfer is a wonderful thing. It's cutting off a corner at a 45. But as soon as they get too big, darn it, they're too big. Sometimes they just need to be so delicate. And this guy understands delicate. Okay, there's satisfaction. And you can tell by his stance. His arms are folded. He's staring up at what he's doing. He's designing. He's suspending a problem in his brain and rotating it to look at every possible angle. And he's trying not to sprain his shoulder by patting himself on the back. All right, what are we laying up here? Okay, he's gang cutting, but look at that saw-guide square. Look at that thing. You can really keep a hold of it. And what is that about? That's nice. And he's got a big, long sleeve lamp holding the work together. Yeah. That's right through. So the waste board clamps against at the front and at the back.
You gotta be shit. Both of my fucking shit.
This project started off great, but ended up being unquestionably the worst one of my life. On paper, this build has everything. A giant wood slab, complex joinery, fire, epoxy, despair, failure, rejection, but eventually, I learned that just because something looks good on the surface doesn't mean it's meant to be.
Alright, suitable power 60, well done. Sure,
When you're entering into a new working project, it can be a lot like entering into a relationship, and there's no right or wrong answer, but there's a couple of different directions you can go. And one is you can keep doing what you've been doing, keep doing what's familiar and what you're comfortable with. And for me, that is probably like working with a nice slab of walnut. And there's nothing wrong with it. I know what to expect. I'm very comfortable with it. But at this point, it might not be the most exciting. Where this slab here is an 8-foot tall, 4-foot wide, behemoth, 500-pound chunk of white oak that to me is pretty freaking exciting, but it also might be fairly costly. I have a lot more the epoxy traits of this particular blonde slab, but one of the traits that I feel is more of a feature than a bug is how freaking hard this wood is. Because this white oak is like 50% harder than black walnut, or maybe even more than that. And one of the things when you're cutting a slab like this and you're going with the grain, you want a really good grip blade. And I ironically, to a lot of people anyway, a rip blade has less teeth than a crosscut blade. A lot of people think that more teeth is better cutting, and it's actually the opposite. And I can't really explain the mechanics of it. Somebody online probably can. But if you're going to make these long cuts with the grain, you want a good low 2-pound rip blade. This chainsaw mark here is one of those traits that I do not consider to be negative. I think it is a beautiful, natural representation of where the slab has been and what it's done. It's like a C-section scar. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it, just because it's not something I see every day, and in the end, I actually think I can grow to love it. What I'm going to be doing with this slab, or one of the main aspects of it, is I'm going to be highlighting all of those cracks, not just the big ones, but the small ones as well. I'm going to be doing that with fire. I'm going to burn all of those cracks pretty aggressively, but in order to do that, and in order to make it really stand out, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to kind of open up all those cracks. I'm going to do that with a die grinder and a couple of different bits, and I'm just going to take all the natural defects, make them a little bit bigger and a little bit more accessible. And these ones here also had a bit of bark in there, so I'm just kind of hogging out all the bark, because what I want is just good, solid wood. I don't want any of that kind of flaky bark in there. And so I spent a little bit of time with these small bits, and those really small cracks I actually love, because they follow kind of the natural order of things, where if I just added a bunch of random lines, it would never look right. But they were too small to really have an effective working. So what I'm doing here, got the Dremel out, and I spent about 4 to 6 hours just carving this thing away, highlighting all those natural cracks, because in the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill them with epoxy and then polish that epoxy just like glass. This C-section area will probably be the least natural of all the charred areas, and I still think I did a pretty good job at following the wood grain and keeping everything looking fairly organic, but it won't look quite as natural as a smaller crack. But I do think it will pair nicely to kind of have the larger, wider black areas paired with those smaller natural cracks. And in the end, though, you just won't know until you actually see it.
You ever miss being a helicopter pilot? Usually, if I'm being honest, I do miss being able to tell people I'm a pilot. Kind of tough. Why do you say that? No reason.
Alright, hear me out. I am not wearing this flight suit to demonstrate to all of you guys that I was once a super cool, life-saving helicopter pilot. I am only wearing this flight suit because it happens to be the most fire-retardant piece of clothing that I own, and I feel it would be irresponsible of me not to wear this flight suit for the process. And also, my former boss be watching and accusing me, or thinking of accusing me, that I'm not returning this flight suit that I told him I didn't have when I did my notice. I just found it. This is all news to me, and I'll be sure to get it back. I'm using an oxyacetylene torch here.
Helps neutralize odor-causing bacteria that thrive in
What you're looking at is not a dumpster. Although it looks like one, it's secretly built to function like a fully dropped camera. I've spent the past 22 days of my life building this from scratch to be an exact replica of a dumpster, rigged with live surveillance cameras, motorized wheels, air conditioning, and a bed, in hopes of spending the night inside of it along the Venice boardwalk with one simple rule: don't get caught. But is that even possible with thousands of people walking? What if they use the dumpster? What if a garbage truck tries to empty the dumpster? And what happens if someone finds the hidden cameras inside of the dumpster? All of those questions will be answered in this video against truly wild stories of graphic novel and make you shop for responsibly. Our story begins last year with a Fritz.
It's rock. Well, be a record for today. Well, this Danny's bubbling like a star after the Baked Bean Festival, mate. Oh, mate, the bass is chock-a-block as well. Well, we attended this show about a year ago, and we're back with the drains are blocked. This is when everything overflows into the pool, and it's done it again, guys. Well, we've got to work out where the game access to this drain. And my memory, I mean, we knew a year ago, but my memories of guys are bloke up to 6 years trying to remember his birthday, mate. And up there, you can see there's a vent top. So that right there, this vent top represents the head of the line, the end of the drain, right here. So we'll try and follow it back down here and see if we can find an inspection point or a gully. Oh, there it is. We found the gully. I can see it from here. And oh, mate. Jesus blockers, and that is right where I am. That is blue. Alright, so this is a good start, but we really need to check out that spring. The inspection shafts up here are... Oh, it stinks. Oh, it may have been here, but I'm 99% sure the inspection shaft's down here somewhere, and I'm just going to have a little bit of a hand to find it. And if you've just stumbled across my channel and you're like, what the bloody hell is an inspection shaft? Well, mate, an inspection shaft is where the property sewer or the property drain will join into the council drain. Well, it's got to be down here somewhere, because if we find it, it's going to be... There it is. Now it's going to make life a little bit easier. We'll take this lid up, we'll take this little cover up, and hopefully there's a cup under here somewhere, and oh, there is, right there. Now this is going to make life easier to see if the blockage is down here or if it's further upstream.
Cloud, by analyzing the live spring data, I was able to locate an old Republic transmitter chip. This chip likely contains an exceptionally rare formula. I recommend searching for it.
See, there's something going on down here. There's water pooling down there. Looks like there's some toilet paper and who knows what else. Let's get the jet outside and let's get this one unblocked for the owner and put a smile on his dial. Something that only 24 hours ago was curious.